Hey everybody, it's Missy again, and I have another layout to share for the Simple Stories creative team. And for this layout, I am using the new Reset Girl collection, and it is super pretty. So many pretty colors in this. It was very hard to choose where to begin. But I decided to start with a cut file, and this is one of the newer ones from the cut shop. I believe it is called Cheeky Chevron, and as you can see there, it cuts out just a tiny sliver of half of a chevron, and it is designed for you to fold over the other half of it. Well, to fold over the half that cut, and then you're going to see the other half from the back side of the paper. And so it's very, very cool. She actually created one like this not too long ago with hearts, and so I saw the chevrons and thought I have to do that. And so I started with this paper because this side of it with the cream color with the little black polka dots is pretty neutral, and then the back of it was black with a little bit of a design on it. And so when the page flipped over and you could see the black, it would be also a neutral color because I wanted to back all those open spots with bright colors from various papers from the 6x6 paper pad. And so the neutral on the front added to the black neutral on the back, it made for a great page to do this cut file on. So that's all I'm going to do here for a while is go through the 6x6 paper pad and look at all these pretty colors. You've got, I never thought that I would really like a dark brown color mixed with all of these light blues and teals and pinks, but it is really, really cool. And I don't use a lot of the brown on this one, but in my other layout that I did, I used a lot of the brown. But for this one, I'm focusing on the black and contrasting that against all these bright colors. And so I'm just picking little spots from random papers here. I'm just going to search through each one and find, all you need is a tiny spot for each of these little chevrons because the opening is so small. And so this is a good opportunity to really look at each of those papers and find little spots of areas that you want to cut out. And so I've got all that done, and you can see the dimension that those chevrons create. And so for me, I like the way this looks, but it's not practical for me to, how am I going to stick my photo down and all my embellishments down if all of those little pieces are sticking up? So before I do anything, I kind of was thinking, okay, what road do I want to take next? So I went ahead and cut up my photos. I thought about using them in I'm losing my train of thought here. Not a grid, a photo strip. There we go. But I decided that I kind of wanted to try to scatter them around the page, and so I cut them up, and they're all the same size. So I still didn't know for sure, but I knew that I wanted to do some mixed media. So I took all those chevrons and I ran each little row through my sewing machine, and so now they're all flat, and I'm able to smudge stuff on top of it, which it would have been impossible to do that if I would have left them up. So, and you can leave them up, it just depends on what you're doing. But for me, I wanted to do this right here with the gesso and some watercolors. And so I had to flatten it out in order to make that happen. Or else it would have been very difficult to do this right here with all of those little pieces. So now I don't want to blend this out completely, but I do want to fade a little bit of the background out and give my paper some strength here. So I'm priming it with this gesso. I know that I want to use this as my title. I'm going to fussy cut that word amazing out, and I love that it is that really pretty mint color and it is outlined in shiny gold. Beautiful. And so I'm going to cut all of those out and use that as part of my title. And I'm kind of all over the place with this layout. I go from the gesso to my title, back and forth, back and forth. And that's just how my brain works sometimes. I don't finish one section before I go on to the next idea, I guess you could say. And I just have to kind of work on what area of the layout hits me at that moment. And, sometimes probably watching these videos, you're thinking, she's so all over the place. But I just kind of go with what hits me at the time. And so I've got my title kind of cut out. And so I thought I'm going to back each of these little photos with different things. And so I've got other bits and pieces from the 6x6 paper pad, and I think a few of the journal cards from the snap pack. And I mainly picked them out because of the color. Like, I'm not going to use that one with the woman on it. So I like the yellow on it though, and so I thought that will make a good background. And so I just went through and picked out ones according to color. I'm trying to pick up all those colors in the background. The coral color, the light pink, the mint, the yellow. And I just want each photo to look a little bit differently with that background. And I'm still playing around with the design of it. This is not how it's going to turn out. That's how it's going to turn out. I still kind of use them in a strip design, but they're kind of jagged. They're not in a perfectly straight line. And I added that big floral element down below, and then I'm going to stack my letters over to the left. But before I adhere any of that, I'm going to jazz up this background with lots of pink. And there is a lot of pink in this collection. There's a couple different shades. You've got the lighter pink and then that darker pink and almost like a corally red pink. And so I picked out some pink shimmers from my stash and a couple of other products. This is one of the original Shimmers paints, and it's called Bubblegum Blast. And it just adds another layer of a different shade of pink here. And then I'm going to add this darker reddish pink. I can't remember the name of this one off the top of my head. I will go back and check. But I'm just mixing and matching. And I mainly chose these three colors because of their tones. And they're all in the pink family, but they're just a little bit different. And, you know, I'm creating this so all of this will peek out from behind everything. And it always looks different when you're making the background. It looks like a big old mess. But then when you add everything on top of it, it totally looks different. And that's another spray. That's, I believe, Mango Tango. And it is the perfect match for that reddish, pinkish, orangish, coralish. Yeah, that's the most technical name of a color I've ever said, right? Ish, if you add ish to the end of the name, then, you know, it's kind of related to that family of color. Yeah, that's my scientific definition. Reddish, pinkish, coralish, orangish. Yeah, you can tell I am not a professional. I just say what comes out. Anyway, you get the idea. They're all in the same pinkish family. And so this is kind of the look I'm going for here. I was trying to recreate all of the colors in that floral cluster, if that clears things up. And see, a lot of it's covered up, but you've got to get all of that on there in order to create your base of the mixed media, I guess you could say. You can't really do this after you glue all the pictures and the title and all of that down. You know, you have to do this and then test it out and bring everything and lay it on top and see. And so when I did that, I noticed that I needed more up top. So that's what I'm doing there. And it looks like a whole bunch of mixed media, and it is, but in order for it to work, you kind of have to do that. I guess that's just the way I do it. So, and if you're not sure 100% that that's where your photos are going to go, you know, you kind of have to play around with it. Anyway, so I'm going to move on to my thread, and I picked out orange, pink, coral, and some gold. My background's dry, and so I'm just going to jazz up the area around that beautiful floral cluster. And that's from one of the die cut packs. I believe it is called Big Pieces. And it is just a pack of die cuts that are enlarged. And so that floral die cut was just beautiful. And it's the perfect size. So I had to use that. So I'm adding some more thread underneath the picture there, under the flowers. Added some under the first A over on the left. And I know it's hard to see here, but it's definitely visible in person. And it just adds some texture and some color. It makes things a little more interesting. And I like that my pictures are not straight. A lot of times I like things to be crooked. I like them to overlap. And I put the two photos on, the middle photo and the one on the right, I put them in that order because she's looking toward the left in both of those pictures. And so I put those farthest on the right so she has more of the layout to look at. And so it's like she's looking across the page. So I always try to pay attention to my photos and the direction in which the person is looking, or the direction in which their head is facing. And try to put it on the opposite side so it looks like they're looking at something on the page instead of at the edge of the page looking off of it. Because then I always wonder, what are they looking at? And yes, I know it's just a photo, but that's what I think of. I'm like, well, there's something out there in outer space. What are they looking at? So now I know that those two pictures on the right, they're looking at the other picture and the title. Another deep thoughts with Missy, right? Yes. Anyway, back to the layout. I added some stickers, some clear stickers to the photos, and I also went to the chipboard sheet and punched out the word girl there. It was very challenging to line up circle alphas. If you've ever used circle alphas, it is almost impossible to get them lined up perfectly, just eyeballing it, and so I had to bring out my ruler there. And now I'm just adding in some more things. I'm adding in another floral die cut. This one's a lot smaller. I'm going to cut it in half and use half of it there and half of it somewhere else. And that is one of the metal clips. I'm not going to use it as an actual clip. I'm going to layer it. So it kind of looks like one of the brads. And then I realized that needs some thread up there. Whenever I look at an area and I think something's missing, something needs to go there, if I add some thread, it always looks finished to me. And I know that probably some of you are probably thinking, it's just thread. What are you talking about? I have no idea. That's just how my brain sees things. And when I add the thread, it just looks kind of like it's done. I wound up moving that metal clip over as a layer underneath the first picture there. And it's okay because the middle photo has a lot of white space in that little area to where she's looking. So now it looks like she's looking at the heart and the brad right in front of her. Yeah. I know it's just a picture, but hey, that's how it goes. All right, so one of the last things I'm going to do is add some dark gray splatters. And then instead of doing journaling, because I didn't really have an area for journaling, and these were just some cute pictures of her on a random day, no major event or anything, this collection has some really great sayings and phrases on this sticker sheets. And so I just chose a few sayings and things that said what I was thinking when I created the title Amazing Girl, and I just used those for my journaling, and that is the finished layout. I really love how this turned out. I think this collection is gorgeous. Everything is so pretty, and it's so versatile. You can use it for so many different ideas for your layouts. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I had a great time putting it together. So I will see you guys next time. So stay tuned for another video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.